So in FC 25, a big tactic to have in your arsenal is free kicks. It's absolutely massive. Now, there is a fair few free kicks you can go for. There's the power shot, there's the curve, there's the outside of the foot, there's a drilling underneath. There is so much. Like, I wonder if I can get this drilling underneath with the wall going up. No, they don't even go up. Do they even know that I'm going for it? Let's go for like a ground cutter here. Are they going to go up? Oh, they do slightly, but you're a bit far away. You kind of need to be a little bit further away, to be fair, for that. But in terms of how do you score them, there's a fair few ways. So in terms of just a normal in-swinger, you want to kind of go in the bottom left of this corner here, as you can see, all the way in. And normally what I aim is kind of for the shoulder. You do have to get the right amount of pace on the ball. And to be fair, being a little bit further back to be able to get that up and over is going to be massive on this, especially when I don't believe the wall is actual height, to be honest. So I kind of like anywhere between like 23 to maybe like 26 yards out. Otherwise, the wall, unfortunately, is just going to take every chance here. But they are going to be, you need an up and over off this. So kind of, if you can't find the angle right, then potentially looking for that kind of in between the two shoulders here. And it's all about the movement of it. So if you can see every single time that even if they jump, you want to go on that second person shoulder just to go up. Obviously we hit the head on him this time. It is a little bit different practicing in comparison to real life game, because I do think with this, it isn't necessarily the same. Like, obviously they jump a little bit higher, but naturally, in terms of scoring every single time, once you are down with this, it is an absolute blessing. What you do find as well is if you can go for like almost like an inside knuckle here, sometimes if the keeper movement's enough, you might find that you'll be able to just smash it straight into this corner. Again, this one's going to be more based around how close you are. Like, I find if you are right on the edge of the D, you will be better off going for like a knuckle shot, because you could get it literally right in this corner. Depending on if they've moved him. They've moved him to the side, you could potentially find it that it doesn't happen. Like, this guy, to be fair to him, is pretty in the corner here. So even if we went for like the outside swing instead and gone for like a power on the outside, it is all about trying to go for them sort of shots and identifying what's your best option. So you can see here, the best option would be to try and go an up and down, to be honest, because naturally you are going to potentially just hit straight into him if you don't, and you could just go for the straight over the top here. Again, if you're looking for the corners, you're looking pretty much to try and up and round into this corner, really, because naturally that's going to be the best chance you've got, rather than necessarily trying to kind of hit it on his side. You could potentially try and go for a curved round power shot here. So you're looking for that top corner in the left there. You're looking to almost bend it over him as such. And there was a thing where I believe, I don't think you can do it in this game, to be honest, but you can kind of outswing it over him as such and like go over the top. I think it worked from kind of like this sort of angle. I don't think it was straight over. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's like a chip, if you went for like the far corner. I know you could. That didn't go in, did it? I don't know. I was going to say that didn't go in. I'd love to see a replay, but I'm pretty sure that didn't go in. But you can potentially go for the chip there. There is works around it. But again, realistically, you're looking for that top right-hand corner. You want to bend it in, especially being on the left foot. Naturally, you don't want to hit the wall, but you want to be looking to try and kind of curve it round everybody if you can. As kind of like normally I go for like a 3/4 power. That tends to do enough for everything. I don't think you're ever going to get that kind of corner on the side there. You're not going to get round it. So then go in a straight on sort of shot, because on the right hand side, so if I'm left footed, it mimics what the left hand side would be like. You want to be looking dependent on how kind of straight you are to goal, because say if you're like around here, then naturally you could potentially just go for the up and over. I would say curling it might be a little bit more difficult there, so you want to aim kind of like directly in front of goal. You want to be finding up and over, just a straight shot into that there. Whereas if I go for more of a curve, you can see the goalkeeper's kind of standing more abruptly to the right, that he's going to go for that dive. I mean, if you can hit the head and get it in, that would be even better. So you're kind of looking for the corner still, but you want to make sure that you are whipping it round and hitting heads like that. So naturally, you could potentially go for an outswinger here, but 9 times out of 10, this is not going to work, especially because he's covering most of his goal. Like, you will get a few that will obviously go with. When it comes to being straight on, you've obviously got the option. This is always the most appealing, and in real game scenarios, it might be an interesting one because obviously you will normally have defenders in front of you as well. So obviously there's going to be people, you can't just whack it from there. So again, you're looking potentially at the up and over. You're looking at maybe an outswing here as a potential straight through the center. Normally what you try and do when it comes to the wall, try and aim in between all of the shoulders. That's going to be your best friend, really. Trying to get in between each of the shoulders. Normally what I would do if I'm going in between, I would look for kind of like that last little bit on his shoulder, and that's where I'd go, because normally the ball trajectory, especially when it's an actual player, should potentially pass him. If you go too far one way, normally you'll hit the other person and the jump will just get them, but it's a potential from there. When it comes to, in fact, if I knock this away, when it comes, watch that go in. When it comes to like a outswing here, if you're looking potentially again on the shoulder side of it, obviously in a real match, you don't tend to hit anybody. It just doesn't happen like that. When it comes to going further out of field, depending on your player, if you're going dead center, you've got a few different options. Obviously, you could go for the straight knuckle. Naturally, you wouldn't have all of this machinery around you either. The knuckle is kind of that hit and hope. You don't think that you could get it, and you just kind of go for that swerve and hopefully get a corner at a minimum. Because that's really the big thing. You either want to score or you want to get the ball back. There is no point you trying to hit it and it just is saved from the goalkeeper. So even if maybe you are trying to get as close to you as you can, knuckles are always good to just take that touch in, because like we saw there, it swerves everywhere. Normally you'll find somebody going there, and if you've got a poacher roll plus, that could be very good as well. When it comes to the power shots from a bit of a distance, you kind of want to be looking a little bit more of a distance across here. So normally what I would do is I'd take a 1, a 2, and kind of look like you're about, I don't know, almost like a full 2 steps away, and that's kind of where I'd aim. So it's kind of just that brief second pause. So it's like 1, 2. That's kind of where I'd go. You'd look at about 3/4 power as normal, and you'd try and aim as much as you can. If you find that maybe that's not working, go a centimeter out again, 3/4 power, and you can see the curve going in. Now, obviously, this is going with Messi, so sometimes you might not be as lucky or as fortunate with a Messi and get somebody else. It's roughly the same. Like, obviously, depending on the curve, that's going to be the big one with how much you can actually truly curve it. But the main thing you're looking for is free kick accuracy off this. When it comes to outside swingers, you're looking again very similar on kind of the distance. And if you're going for the power, you'll see you'll be able to do that. When it comes to just normally hitting it, I don't tend to not do the power here. Normally always to the bottom right in terms of where you're hitting the ball, and it will float. And I do think curve is a massive one when it comes to that, because naturally you're going to need a curve shot. So the bigger the curve, the better. But normally it's kind of the same distance as you would go the other way, same sort of power, and you can just see it flat and straight away here. Like I say, they are the best kind of free kicks that I go with. Normally it's kind of like the bottom left and curve, the bottom right and curve, then looking straight in the middle for almost that little bit of a knuckle. That's going to be a really fun one just in general, because you can see the ball swerve, and then it's just a straight up and over. It's just a straight to the bottom, kind of a little bit up, so it's kind of like either inside or outside, but naturally you're not getting that chip, which you'll see, and it's just a straight up and over, and that one's kind of like a really nice and easy one to go with, especially again if you've got more of a curved player of anything, because they should be able to go straight in the middle, 3/4 power, straight up and over, and that's going to be the decence. But I would always be looking between the 25 to 23, 22 mark. Anything further afield, this is going to be just a massive hit and hope. A knuckle could actually be quite decent here, because you can just all out whack it. Like, obviously that one's going to be more of a chip, which was just awful in itself. But naturally you want to just go for as much as you can here, really. But I would say it would be very difficult to try and up and over on a goalkeeper here. It's going to be very difficult to try and get the kind of go on him, because naturally they're in a good position. You're quite a distance out. You're pretty much just hitting and hoping open here. I think even the curve really wouldn't do too much on this one. If we could try and go for the keeper's side, you'd have to go for pretty much max power and pray that the keeper's just an absolute donkey on this one. So when it comes to 28 yards, normally, to be honest, I just pass it. There's very little you can do from this sort of distance without having either a crazy power shot free kick taker and just praying that he does something stupid, or naturally you've just got very, very lucky with an animation or something along them lines. But that's really the free kick practice I'll go with. Let me know down below if you've got any different ones you'd go with, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace!